and welcome to BrewingDaily.com. I'm your host, Matthew Winther. Today we're back with Ashley at Ashley's beautiful home, and we're going to be bottling that beer we made today.
Awesome.
Ashley.
Cool. So, like, what do we need to bottle a beer? What is all this stuff?
All right. Well, this is pretty standard equipment we're going to use to bottle. It's needed obviously on top of the brewing vessel, which we have back here, our beer. Okay. And first and foremost, we're going to need bottles. Okay. We're going to need about 50 to 60 bottles here. Obviously, we put our beer in. We're going to need something to add sugar to those bottles. Okay.
What's the sugar for?
Well, the beer we have now is fully fermented. It's got all the alcohol it's going to have. It's got the character. It's got the body. It has no bubbles because we've been letting the carbon dioxide escape through the airlock. So what we have is warm, flat beer. So what we're going to do is, when we put the beer into the bottles, we're going to add a little sugar to those bottles. And that's going to, the yeast is going to come alive again while they're in the bottles. It's going to ferment in the bottles, and that's going to create our carbonation. Okay. There's a couple of different ways you can do this. Today we're going to be using carb tabs by Muttons. And these are basically just little concentrated tabs of sugar that we're going to drop into each bottle. We're going to put the yeast, and then those will dissolve right away, create carbonation. Cooper's also makes one. There's a few different brands of these, and they're really convenient. I mean, this is pretty much the easiest way to get sugar into your beer bottle.
And you can use that at any home brew, so they'll have that.
Any homebrew supply store should have these, absolutely. We're going to need crown caps to cap these bottles back up, and we're going to need a capper to seal those caps. And it just goes on like this, and it comes down, and bam, that's capped.
Nice.
You're going to need a bottle wand or a bottle filler, and there's two different kinds. This one's gravity driven, where the beer just pushes it down. There's also ones that are spring driven, and basically what happens is the beer will be in there, and when you push it down, it will open, let the beer out. When you pull it up, it will close, and that way we don't spill beer everywhere. Great tool to have. Okay. This is just a hose, just to siphon the beer through, and this is a racking cane.
What does that mean?
Well, racking cane is going to go into the brew vessel, and this is going to keep us, there's a layer of sediment on the bottom of that vessel. Okay, that's yeast sediment, sometimes there's other sediment. This is going to rest on that, and it's going to keep it, basically filter it out, so that it doesn't get into our beer, because we don't want to drink that.
No.
Beer has enough calories in it already, we don't need extra yeast calories and whatever. And of course we're going to need sanitizer, Star San, it's a must. We've got alcohol in our beer now, and so sanitation is not as key as it was before. We had, the alcohol in the beer will kill some stuff off, but just better be safe than sorry. We're going to sanitize all of our equipment. We're also going to sanitize the caps and the bottles.
Awesome.
And so let's get started.
Let's do that. Okay. So Matthew, what are we doing now?
All right. Well, the first thing to do whenever you're brewing beer or anything with beer is to clean and sanitize everything.
Okay.
The first thing we're going to do is we're going to put these crown caps. Basically what I've got is I've got a pot of water on here. We're just going to put those in and let those get to a boil. Okay. I got about 60 of them in there. That'll make sure that those are actually sterile, which is fine. You can also put them in Star San or sanitizer solution, but I find that it's better to boil them because, for instance, Star San can cause oxidation, cause rust on them almost right away, and bleach can fall off inside the bottles. I don't mind getting a little boiled water inside our beer. I don't necessarily want bleach or iodine or any of those other things that might produce off flavor. So that's what we're going to do first.
Awesome.
We got a sink full of sanitizer solution, and I don't typically recommend that you sanitize in a sink, right? Because they can harbor bacteria and whatnot. But you've got this really nifty antibacterial sink surface on your sink, and we cleaned it out pretty well. So we went ahead and we just mixed up some Star San in the sink here as per the instructions. And we're just going to make sure that all of our equipment, our hoses and everything, get a good dose of the sanitizer solution on them. And then we're also going to take individually the bottles, and we're going to fill them with sanitizer solution, and we're going to just let them run around with the sanitizer solution in there, drain them out, and then we're going to set them up probably on the counter over there in an area where we can then fill them with beer.
Are we going to do that to every single bottle?
Yeah, every single bottle has to be sanitized because every single bottle is going to have its own little fermentation in there. Okay. So it's just like when we did the big fermentation. We're still going to have a nice clean area for that yeast to eat that sugar and produce the CO2 that it needs. If there's other bacteria in there that start eating that, it will still produce an off flavor. So we don't want any of that.
So just to recap, we put them in the dishwasher, and then we're going to sanitize them again. So
Right.
it's really, really important for the bottles to be perfectly.
Absolutely. Well, we clean them first. We put them in your dishwasher to clean them.
Okay.
And that's just to make sure there's no gunk or anything in there. Because even the sanitizers, you can't sanitize a bottle if it's got gunk in it. You know. So yeah, we did that. We cleaned them. I actually have a sanitizer button on my dishwasher, so I don't have to star sand them. I actually just put them in, hit the sanitize button, and I just leave it shut until I'm ready to bottle, open it up, and pour the beer right in. But that's okay. Star sand is great, and like I said, it won't add color, it won't add flavor, it won't add smells.
So where can you get this Star Sand stuff?
Well, Star Sand you can get at just about any restaurant supply store or any home brew supply store. You can also get it on the internet. And I use it for all of my beer stuff. I talk about it in a lot of my videos too. So now what we're going to do is just go ahead and start sanitizing these bottles and get them on the counter and ready to fill with beer. And it's time to open up our beer.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just gonna put a bowl in here. And I want you to, you're welcome. I want you to gently put the rack and cane in the beer.
Okay.
We don't want to disturb any of this sediment at the bottom and let this hang over the side. So, go ahead and
Can let that go?
Yep. And it's just nice and there we go. That's fine. And now what we're going to do is we're going to create a siphon.
Okay.
The way we're going to create a siphon is I want you to take this and I want you to fill this hose up with this water from your sink.
All right.
Just nice, clean, cool water.
When you say siphon, do you mean like with your mouth sucking water?
Well, that's just the idea, and you can do it with that way, but what we're going to do is we're going to do this one instead. That's fine, that's enough water. Okay. So the way I create a siphon is I fill up the tube with water like this, and we're going to go ahead and just attach it. And now go ahead and grab that soda cup there. And we're going to let the water pour off into the cup, and that creates our siphon. And now I have a little nifty little valve on my hose, so I can.
Did you make that?
Yeah, but they actually sell these valves like a home supply store. And then we're ready to go.
Cool.
So actually, what I've got here, these are the carb tabs we talked about, and we're gonna put basically your hands are sanitized and mine aren't. So what I want you to do is I want you to just put 4 in every bottle.
4 in every bottle.
And it says per the instructions, it says you want heavy carbonation, you can put 5. This is actually a brown, so it shouldn't be overcarbonated. So go ahead and just start putting 4 of these in every bottle. And we're going to do that before we fill them up with beer. Now, as you fill those up with carbonation drops, I'm going to then take the bottle and I'm going to fill it with beer. And that way, and then what I'm going to do is after it's filled with beer, I'm going to go ahead and place a crown cap on it. These are all sanitized. I'm trying not to get too dirty. And I'm not gonna cap these down yet. What I want to happen is I want for a little bit of that the CO2 to try to escape and just fill the headspace up with CO2 because we don't really want any oxygen in our beer.
What will happen if oxygen gets in the beer?
It'll just make the beer oxidize. It'll make it taste a little flat, you know, and can produce some off flavors. So we want nothing but CO2 in the bottles. So, and then once we have all these done, we're going to go ahead and cap them. And then we're done.
And this is the last step before we drink it, right?
Yeah, at that point we're going to we'll let the bottle sit for about a week to 2 weeks, and that'll carbonate them in the bottle, and then once they're carbonated, we'll put them in the fridge and we'll drink them. All right, Ashley. So we filled up all our bottles. We got the carb tabs in, and now I'm just going to show you real quick how to cap these things.
Awesome.
And this is a pretty standard capper. It kind of looks like a medieval torch device or some sort of thing, yeah. But it's actually pretty nifty. It's got a little magnet here, so the cap sticks right to it. And basically all you do is push the handles down, like so, and there it is capped. And because we're using those carb tabs, I like to just go ahead and do this to make sure they get moved around the bottle a little bit. They take a while to dissolve. So why don't you go ahead and give that a try.
So I just put the bottle cap on, set that on there, give it a good
Just
squeeze.
give it a good push down. There you go. There you go. And that's it.
Perfect.
And now we're going to take these. We're going to let them sit for about 2 weeks.
Okay.
Go ahead and in 2 weeks we'll open them up, see if they've got some fizz. And if they do, we'll put them in the fridge and we'll drink them up. Yum nums. And that's it. That's your first beer. Now we've gone from a carbonated bottle, and And that's all it takes.